Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Highway to the Zemus Zone Season 4. How's it going? I'm Moonblaze Wolf. I am joined on the mic tonight by Alicel, and we are going to be watching four fantastic runners tonight. Two of them, longtime Free Enterprise fans, will know those names quite well. Up top, we've got Night Dew, and we've got Dusty Griff. And on the lower portion of the screen, we've got a couple newcomers, a couple up-and-comers. I know they were, I don't know if they were in the Pink Puff League, but I know they were boot camp registrants. And we've got Ultros Professional, and we've got Area. And looks like we have a Porum start as our hero. And Allie, what is jumping out to you at this when you kind of scout out this race and these objectives that we have?
Well, Porum start. There's some people that are going to be very upset about that. I, for one, love Porum almost as much as I love Rydia. But yeah, cure fever, defeat Queen of Monsters, so you just can't get away from those summon bosses.
Yeah, in this flag set, for those of you who have not been paying too much attention, or maybe this is the first one that you're tuning in for, you can use the flags command, or I believe the details command, for all of the information about this flag set. But one of the things to note is our summon spots. So Cave Bahamut, for example, the king and queen of the Fey March, Odin, those are not objective holding spots anymore. So we're going to see our runners probably hit up both of those, depending on where things are, in order to do those two objectives. And they're not going to get any key items there, but they're gonna probably have to fight a boss of varying nastiness, because those are two pretty advanced boss spots.
Yeah, the Queen of Monsters, where Shura typically is, very, very fast, very, very punchy.
Yep, that is a spot that is very awkward, depending on what boss is there. And actually, Cave Bahamut is the same way. Very fast, very punchy. So if we have a combination of, let's say, maybe an Antlion, maybe a Odin at one of those spots, that could be pretty interesting, I would say. Just because depending on when our runners get there and what they're thinking, they're, how far they're along in their levels and such, could be in for a good viewing experience, shall we say.
Yep. I know some of y'all in chat are all for pain, suffering, and misery. I'm right here with you.
Yep.
But yeah, or we could have a situation where we have, we don't have to do all 5 of the objectives. So we could have a situation where we don't have to do the Queen of the Town of Summon Monsters or complete Cave Bahamut and just say, no, I don't want to fight a nasty boss in that spot.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do one of them, but it won't necessarily be both of them. Speaking of nasty bosses, and again, for those of you who maybe this is your first Zemus Zone 4 race that you've been watching, Defeat Wyvern is on, but Wyvern is not going to be mega nuking. It will be doing something else random. And it looks like we are off and rolling here. So we've got our Porum hero joined by Sid. Sid's on babysitting duty. And there's a Bahamut and a Siren. So a bit of an inauspicious start, I would say.
Sid's a great character to start with. He starts off at a little bit higher level. He is what is generally considered a tank. He takes a lot of damage. And, just gets a ton of health. So not as dangerous as this start could have been.
Yeah, Sid is in this flag set, or in flag sets where agility matters, Sid is really good. He's actually a really good hero, but then also Sid is a pretty welcome party companion, I would say, in this flag set, where you're not necessarily guaranteed any certain characters. So having Sid is very versatile, can throw potions, has a high hit point pool, has decent attack early on. Generally a pretty good starting character. And speaking of characters, we see an Edward and a Sparkle chilling out in the Baron Inn on Night Dew's screen. We'll try our best to keep up here, but 4 screens, boy.
Yeah, Edward, not the dream in this flag set. He cannot equip the spoon. He does have some utility, but yeah, generally, you'd be hoping to see something like a Cecil, a Kane, literally anything else other than an Edward.
Yeah, Edward is not going to do a whole heck of a lot for you unless you find a weapon like a Dancing Dagger, maybe an Artemis Bow. Although, interestingly enough, both of our current characters can already use an Artemis Bow. We're seeing a little bit of divergence in the looting. We've seen Night Dew looting out the Watery Pass. Dusty Griff is opting to loot the Castle Eblin instead. I think we've seen more runners go for this as a early loot option as opposed to, I would say the Waterfall may be a little bit more traditional. There's some reasons for that, though.
Definitely. The tier of treasure found in Castle Eblin is a little bit higher than you find in Watery Pass. So it is a better place to find it, but you do have to contend with those 3 trap chests.
Yep. And the trap chests historically have been a little bit of a downside, but specifically for this party as well as like Allie was mentioning, some of the loot tier shakes has been shaken up. One of the big changes, and I know this from my own personal research, whenever I have, for example, a Porum, especially as a hero, I would love nothing more than to pull a heroine robe, and that is a tier 5 item, and Castle Eblin has the highest percentage of chance of you getting a tier 5 item that you can get to at the outset, so...
Absolutely. A heroine robe on that Porum, she gets Angie, and she is a tiny murder child, and I am here for it.
It's definitely a side of Porum that we don't always get to see, and it's very fun. So, speaking of things that our runners maybe don't want to see, up on Hobbs, we've got an Edward and a Bigan.
Bigan, I guess it's better to have him here than, say, a Nasty Moon spot or the Queen of the Summon Monster spot. But for an Edward, it's... ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I think this early on, Sid's probably going to carry this fight, but you have to wonder a little bit, too, maybe what you're gaining out of this. I mean, you are getting a character... the character pools are actually pretty interesting in this flag set. So we have C maybe and no dupes, which means that you're not necessarily guaranteed to get your full assortment of Final Fantasy IV characters. You might only find, we've already seen 2 Edwards. Maybe the seed is going to be oops, all Edwards. So maybe it's a good thing to get this Edward, get the experience as well for Porum. Dead heroes do still get experience, so Porum gets a nice bump there.
And you do have access to some fairly decent treasures on the other side of Mount Hobbs if you can get to them.
Yep, there's some more good chests over there, which I don't think Arya looted them. It looks like Night Dew is going to grab all of them. It's very interesting talking to runners about how much they want to loot in this format. I don't know if I've seen a general consensus that's really formed yet. I think a lot of it really just depends on the runner's preferences and style, especially in these wide open qualifiers. But you're probably going to need to loot a little bit more because it's the only source of what we would call J items. All of those Star Veils, the Siren that we got at the beginning. You will not be able to find any of those in shops. You're only going to be able to pull them from chests, and some of those are the best utility items that you can get in the randomizer. And
we did see a Gaia drum pickup on the west side of Hobbs by Night Dew. When they do ordeals with C Hero on, only your hero gets to go into to fight the boss at the top of ordeals.
Yeah, that is you definitely want some of those items for that fight for reasons that you can probably imagine. So, and we got a couple of our early objective or key item checks here. Finally, we've got Arya, who is fighting King Queen Eblin at a free spot or the free boss at the Fabul defense, and Ultros Professional has found a mom bomb in Antlion, which I know is one of my least favorite places to find mom bomb.
It's just so exceptionally rude because mom bomb cheats and gets like 10,000 extra health or something.
Yeah, and you don't, this early on in a seed, you're not really going to have a good way of chewing through it, so you're just going to end up taking a big old explode and having just kind of a long, annoying fight, so.
Now, a few of our runners did find that Earth Hammer and can use that for a Quake, which easily takes out those 6 bombs, so not too bad.
Yep. Ooh, and then there is a darkness crystal. That is quite the reward. So that is going to open up objective number 2, complete Cave Bahamut, as well as give our runners a path to Zeromus. So we will see a lot of early tactical decision making here with that early darkness crystal, almost certainly. And now we're just kind of, especially if we get a hook seed or something like that, we could see a ton of divergence from our 4 runners here.
Well, and on Arya's side, we picked up a magma key.
Well then, the whole world is open. You just go wherever you like now, runners. Good luck. I hope you like gambling.
Yeah, I know a lot of runners, when they get all the options available, it's kind of overwhelming because you think, where do I go? What do I do? What is my opponent going to do? And we have, I believe it's over 70 opponents in this qualifier right now. So you just kind of got to figure out what kind of gambles am I willing to take.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of a seed where we might see some of the big gambles and maybe something pay off. And yeah, as Ali was mentioning, 75 runners in this race tonight. So a lot of folks getting their free enterprise on, trying to get more races under their belt. Top 64 move on to the bracket. And you need to have 4 decent races out of the 15 qualifiers. It's still not too late to enter. We've got about 8 more, well, we have 8 more of these left after tonight. So if you haven't signed up and you still want to participate, it is not too late, but time is definitely running out.
Absolutely. And if you're kind of on the fence, you're like, well, maybe I want to try it. Go ahead and enter. There's no penalty if you don't get your 4 races. You can just give it a shot.
I just have one request of this seed at this point. When we go up to the moon, because everybody's getting ready to go up to the moon, I do not want to see a Tella. Just please, no Tella. Tella, stay away for once, the seed.
Yeah, let's have no Tellas in the seed. No Yongs, no Cecils.
I do think this is a really interesting seed, though, just kind of thinking about how this is going to play out. And I don't want to pretend or assume to know what's going to happen, but, you know, I guess Night 2 doesn't know that the Darkness Crystal is in Antlion yet, but Night 2's already underground. Arya has at least opted to go do this Antlion cave first, and he is going to have the same choice. Maybe not a choice. I guess we don't have any runners that have either of them yet, so like we're kind of in little mini no mode as far as where the strategy might be taking people, but everybody's just kind of trying to make their best play with that first choice, whether it was Fabul or Antlion.
And we did see Night Dew go ahead and talk to Temp Job Dwarf, who was a medical assistant today. Shout outs to all of our medical assistants and just healthcare professionals in general. But yeah, seed verified.
Well, that's good. I'm really glad that Night Dew got that, and yeah, shout outs to all of our fine dwarven and non-dwarven medical folks and first responders out there. So we're gonna see probably the boss checks, I would think, soon for objectives 2 and 4. So we're going to know, our runners are going to know, or we're going to know what our runners are going to have to face down to get 2 of those objectives done. Saw Leviathan summon there in the Pillow Fort, so that's pretty interesting.
Leviathan is one of those items that dropped from, I believe, tier 6 to tier 5 and is available in gated shops.
That is correct. And Night Dew picks up an Earth Crystal in that free key item check in the Fey March. That is a really great item to find this early in a seed, especially if you start kind of... you might find a really good piece of gear or something that does allow you to get out of order. Oh, hey, more Edward.
Yeah. I guess this might be an Oops All Eddie seed.
We've already got 3. So, yeah, our runners might have some slim pickings here as far as what their character options are going to be. So, all the more reason to have an Earth Crystal, right?
Yeah, you've got an opportunity for 2 more Edwards that you can't take. But Night Dew about to show us who we're going to be facing. Ooh.
Ha, ha, ha. So, interesting thing in that spot, I would say, the magic is not particularly scary, but in all likelihood, with that Porum as your anchor and the speed that we talked about in that spot, you're probably not going to be able to do it anytime soon. It's actually a pretty awkward combination for Golbez because the spells will still do a decent amount of damage, but they won't kill that Golbez getting reflected very fast in that spot, so you're probably going to need to actually fight it out. And that's just not something you can really do right now. Also a Leviathan at the K Bahamut spot.
All things considered, Leviathan not the worst there. Leviathan doesn't punch, and that is a very punchy spot. So much better than, say, a Mom Bomb or an Antlion.
Yeah, that Leviathan is... It's again, you're gonna have to chew through a lot of hit points, but it's not going to be particularly dangerous once your party has a certain amount of levels under their belt. So Golbez is interesting. I would say Leviathan maybe less so, but we'll definitely be seeing our runners get to that sooner rather than later.
But that does also mean that both of those objectives are terminal objectives, so there's nothing hiding behind them. So our runners could technically choose to do one or the other.
And I think we are about to play one of our favorite games here on Night Dew screen. We're going to play Rate That Treasury. So everybody get your number cards out 1 through 10, and let's see what we think here. And your Sharpies. Treasury.
I'll call it a Meme Spear and Cursed Ring out of 10.
So interestingly enough, I'm actually I saw the curse. So it's funny how that all came together because we saw the Cursed Ring first and you're like, oh, cool, a Cursed Ring. I'm all set on my agility. And then there was a Ninja Hat and I was like, maybe if I want to go up to 28, I can do a Ninja Hat. And then the Crystal Ring came out and I am just all about that treasury for this flag set. That is like perfect agility out of 10, if you ask me.
Well, and we did see some Artemis arrows. We can find a bow to go with them. Either that Porum, that Sid, or that Edward can be pretty kitted out.
There was actually a samurai bow in the treasury as well. So yeah, Porum is about to rain destruction. Although we might, oh no, we said Sid had an earth hammer. So yeah, Porum, good luck. I hope you've been studying your archery.
And Night Dew also going to show us what Sheila 1 has.
That is a Luca key, so probably not something we will do for a little while, although could be a cheeky key item peek at any point if we don't mind resetting out. Luca key is always one of those really tempting key items because you want, if you end up needing whatever is down there, you have to fight your way out, and it can be a pretty rude boss spot. But if it's like a chain item, you might not even know for sure that you need it. You might just know that you have to walk it out, and it could lead to nothing. So Luca key is always one of those kind of love-hate key items, I would say.
Well, and depending on what our runners find, that may be a grind as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is very true, because you can fight the doors down there. There's a nice plentiful supply of them, and they do give a decent amount of XP. One interesting thing that Nightdew is definitely going to be able to take advantage of because of the order in which he sequenced things. He got all of the good loot. So he got his Earth Crystal, got a bunch of really good stuff out of that treasury, and then did not loot Antlion at all, which I know there was a little bit of talk in chat, as well as I think just generally for other runners. They looted a lot of Antlion, and Nightdew just beelined right to that objective and is going to have a nice smooth fight here to get that Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot faster to just go straight to Antlion versus having to stop and pick up all the chests that are all scattered. So just kind of nice for Nightdew to save that little bit of time.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see our runners crossing over quite a bit here, so those are kind of like the little subtle things that might give Nightdew an advantage over someone like Dusty, for example, or any of our other, 71 other runners that are in this race, is just those little moments where you can kind of skip past the thing that somebody already did for whatever reason. So, oh, and it's a Pale Dim at the Baron Inn, so we're still wyvern hunting.
Pale Dim is one of those very obnoxious bosses if it's at a high HP spot, because you hear that slow sound forever and ever.
I won't make it because you'll be able to hear it as well. Oh, and we got double trouble here too. We've got the D-Lunars, so 2 sparkles down, but not the one that we are looking for. Looks like Dusty has a stack of Cure 3s. That should make this fight fairly trivial. Yep, there we go.
And Ultra's Professional has picked up her Earth Crystal. We'll see if she goes ahead and does that treasury check as well. And only a Grimoire, a duplicate Edward and a Grimoire. That's not the dream.
No, so maybe the best thing that comes out of this Baron Inn check for our runners is just knowing that you have 2 sparkles out of the way. Yeah, we're just seeing a lot of overlapping from our runners right now. Just want to quickly shout out the 2 members of our Restream team who are not on the mics right now. We have Scythe Marshall doing all the tracking for you, pressing all the buttons, keeping up with this very hectic 4-person race. And then we've got Solaris running the broadcast tonight. So thank you to both of you as well.
Well, and thank you to my co-commentator, Blaze.
Oh, this is fun, Allie. I don't know if we've ever done commentary before. If we did, it was probably a long time ago, and I haven't really been on the mics a lot so far in recent memory, and definitely not in a qualifier yet. So this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. I don't think we've ever done comms before, so I got to do comms with somebody new.
It's always exciting. I love that. It's fun to. It's fun to be able to banter, because we've definitely voice chatted before, and it's always fun just to have that familiarity, but also, yeah, we're gonna watch this really cool race, and I'm just super excited for this. I mean, obviously having Nightdew and Dusty Griff, but just a 75-person qualifier going on tonight, and we've got a couple of other up and comers, you know, folks who have really been working really hard to get good at this randomizer as well in Ultros and area. So this is so much fun.
Absolutely. This is just a great randomizer, a great community. Everybody is just so kind.
And yeah, so I think we're going to see, so Area is doing Ordeals. Our first runner to be doing that, which is again, we're looking for that new turf right now because there's a lot of overlapping that comes when you have Magma and Darkness early like this. So one other thing I just want to call out, I don't remember exactly where it came from, but I think it was Castle Eblin. Dusty has a Thunderclaw, and when we get to that Leviathan spot, that Thunderclaw, if we find either a Yang or a Edge, is going to put Dusty at a very big advantage potentially in terms of how fast and efficient that fight goes. If we can find somebody to actually use said Thunderclaw. So
yeah, Thunderclaw is another one of those items that in the update got a price increase and I think a tier increase.
Yep, it sure did. And we also saw Dusty actually going right at Golbez here. This is interesting. There is an advantage to doing this early just in terms of efficiency, because you have this cutscene where, you know, Golbez likes to talk, but Dusty only has 3 party members right now, so we only have to do we only have to have the one party member that gets chomped by the Shadow Dragon, and also Dusty putting that crystal ring to good use, which is going to block the hold from hitting Sid here. So he's in pretty good position as long as Sid is not the character that gets eaten. Perfect. All right, Dusty is ready to go, I think, here on this Zeromus fight.
And I think Dusty's got some pretty nice J items that can at least do some chip damage at this Golbez.
I see Dusty eyeing that Grimoire too. I wonder if he's gonna use that here. Meanwhile, just to call it back to something else, we have a extremely rude Nope Rope on the top of Ordeals here. This is a tough fight.
Ogopogo is awful pretty much anywhere, but here in particular, because this is a punchy spot. And Big Wave always does either a quarter or half your damage, depending on how many waves come out.
Yep. So it negates one of the biggest advantages of having Sid as well, which is really tricky for a lot of runners to deal with, because the HP just comes off as a percentage. It comes off in chunks, and there's nothing you can really do about that, unfortunately. Dusty gets through that Golbez fight. I did not think that those spells were going to do as much damage as they did, the reflected spells, but very well done by Dusty, using the tools that he had to get through that fight super early, get some nice XP for it as well. And a stick.
For a character that we don't have, because all we have is Edwards all day, every day.
Yep. I don't think we're going to be able to train up Edward as a Dragoon by the end of the seed, so unfortunately we're just kind of keeping an eye out for a Kane now. I think most runners would tell you Dragoon Lance is probably Kane's best weapon, aside from like an Avenger or something. But you won't be unhappy with most of Kane's top tier weapons, but that one in particular, due to some of the racial weaknesses that it can exploit, is extremely good.
But Night 2 gets through that nasty Ogopogo, keeps all 3 characters alive, and now we'll get to send Porum into the boss spot.
Yep, it is time for Porum to face her fears, and unfortunately for Arya, did not save after that first spot, which I will freely admit I do that all the time as well. Got kind of burned by it a little bit this time, but easily back through that Dark Imps fight, so that's good to see.
And let's see what our key item is. It is a pass. Uh-oh.
Oh, this is one of the most awkward bosses that you can get here. Let's see how. Night Dew's got 3 different attack items. This is going to be fine, but for a less kitted up runner, that could be extremely tricky. Also, we're down to a single sparkle left as we watch Arya fight Ogopogo. So the next sparkle that we see will be Wyvern. We've already found all 4 of the other ones.
And at this point, our runners are kind of going to have to make decisions where to go next. I mean, you could go to the moon with these 3 characters. You could do Dwarf Castle, or you could do Earth Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to me personally, Earth Crystal makes the most sense, and we'll see if that's what Dusty does decide to do here. Just because you really need to expand your character pool with this party, and that's going to give you the highest percentage chance of being able to do that. But again, we've talked about this already a couple times. We might see some folks gamble. We might see people go to start looking at moon bosses and see if they can find an easy moon boss or something like that. So, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just going to be, do you want to go for a little more efficiency, maybe a little more logic, or do you want to just kind of throw caution to the wind and go for something that might pay off big? I'm looking at you, Luca Key. I want to see somebody go do a Luca Key check. I think that would be really exciting.
Well, and a hard required Luca Key would be nice, because Wyvern in that spot is terrible.
All comes down to the Witchburn, but yeah, you were exactly right. Awkwardly as well for this party, we did get that extra siren at the beginning, but we haven't really gotten anything that is going to lend itself to, being able to take advantage of that early on. So, we don't really have anybody who can, take out a dragon egg, for example, or any way of easily getting through a set of gold dragons. We could see somebody do a warlock grind. That would be interesting, because we do have. So I saw a mute knife for an Edward, and we should have a mute spell on Porum now. So there's definitely a couple maybe non-conventional ways to maybe skip the mid game a little more, because this is definitely a seed where we could see our runners get a little bit bogged down here for a bit, because the party level is kind of low and they're running out of more easy checks. So.
And it looks like Arya having a little bit of problems with that plague. It is exceptionally rude in that location, especially with only 1 character.
Yeah, and this is just such a tricky spot as well. You just fought through 1 really hard boss, you really want to finish this, and then there's another very difficult boss right afterwards, so. Because I'll be honest, Allie, I might be walking off this ordeals right now if I was in Arya's position.
Absolutely. And Arya has not gone underground yet, so has not found that Earth Crystal, checked that treasury, so doesn't have a lot of the tools that some of our other runners do.
Or maybe just needed to spend a little more time in the inventory. So that's really nicely done to get through that fight. Very similar to how Night Dew got through it, actually. One of the things that always is a sign of a good runner is if you do something and it doesn't go well the first time, you don't want to see that runner doing the same thing again. You want to see him doing something different. And really nice job by Arya there getting through that plague fight the second time.
And we see Nightdew and Dusty Griff both giving us the Zot check, finding a Dark Elf up here. Meh.
Yeah, it's not gonna really pose too much of a threat, but the spot has a surprisingly large amount of hit points, again, that you kind of have to chew through. And the thing that I really don't like about fighting Dark Elf in this spot is Dark Elf will do those sequences of 3 different spells, and it just takes forever when you are running against that. So you definitely want to get Dark Elf transformed as fast as possible, and that did happen here for Dusty now, thankfully.
But Porum showing off that Artemis arrows are good against dragons. Real good.
Indeed, yeah, that second phase of the Dark Elf fight is in fact a dragon and is very, very weak to set. Are you serious? There's another Edward. And also Demus, but mostly another Edward.
Come on, double Edward.
Solaris, what have you done?
So this is our party for Z.
Come on, I want to see it. Oh, nope, it's a brother. Okay. Still nobody that can handle any kind of melee damage. But boy, those sirens are looking pretty good right about now, so that's a welcome sight for sure, I'm sure, for Dusty.
And definitely want to get that Palom up to Quake, because we really do need party members that can do some damage.
Yep. This fight shouldn't be too difficult. We've got the karate fight here, so unfortunately, there's almost no way Palom is going to live through this fight and get XP, but we'll take care of that afterwards, I'm sure. Especially with that Demist waiting at Dwarf Castle, I think that just makes that check pretty much irresistible after this for both Dusty and Nightdew.
Yeah, that's 2 key items, 2 boss, well, 1 boss check at this point, and a character check, which is going to be very valuable for these runners.
Dusty was trying so hard to get Palom XP there, was timing that out. Basically, between kicks, Karate does a punch. The punch phase was really trying to get that Palom up to get the XP. Unfortunately, was not able to do it. We'll see if Nightdew has more luck.
And it looks like Area is going to go, well, nope, not quite. Thought about cracking an egg, but maybe realized, well, how do I kill it?
That is definitely a very important part of that grind that I sometimes you actually do forget about. So, and Zot gives our runners the package, which don't think anybody's particularly excited to go check that. But yeah, like I said, I think, yeah, and I think you called this part, Allie. Dusty's going to go do an egg, and then Dusty is almost certainly going to do Dwarf Castle, I would say.
And Nightdew, managing to keep that Palom up. We'll see. Odin is not the dream. That wasn't Odin, that was Ifrit. I know my summons.
Yeah, and we're seeing a slightly different strategy here from Nightdew that did work. He does get the XP, and Porum cheers excitedly, but was using Cure 2s instead of life potions. Very, very well done. Was able to keep that Palom up. Maybe got a little bit better of the board UI there, or AI, so.
Porum's so happy.
Porum does have absolutely the best row change animation. It's not particularly close, I would say.
And Ultra's Professional up here on Mount Ordeals, I did see someone in chat mention that Ogopogo spelled backwards is Ogopogo.
And I think our first fight is, oh, it's the other Mylon. So we got a Dwarf Castle coming up here. This is also going to tell us, well, I guess, who is Golbez's temporary life partner down in the Fame Arch. So Mylon Z, for those who are wondering. And yeah, we've got ourselves some zombies here doing the zombie dance.
Ooh, and there is a Rosa in that package check. But you have to ask yourself, is it worth the time?
I think in this flag set, as long as you have one white mage, you're generally fine. That does hurt, though. I would definitely feel awful resetting out of that. But it does seem like the right play. I would also not fault a runner for taking Rosa there. Rosa, the security of having a Rosa as opposed to a Porum in the Z fight is pretty there's a pretty big distinction between those two options. So
well, even just the security of having 5 characters.
That is also a good point. But Night Dew is going to go to Dwarf Castle here. So worst case scenario, if Night Dew really wants a 5th character, if Dwarf Castle is another Edward, for example, just throwing that out there, you know, could double back and grab that Rosa. So
And Dissatisfied in chat pointing out there could be a Wyvern at that package location, and somebody who really wants that Rosa gets rewarded.
that is absolutely true. Yeah, we have no idea where Wyvern is at this point. I think we're all anxiously awaiting the arrival of our 5th Edward.
And it is a cane. That is huge.
Yeah, we've well, Dusty has the Dragoon Spear. Dusty is actually the only runner who has that Dragoon Spear because it came from fighting Golbez at the Queen of the Summon Monster spot. So yeah, Dusty is probably a lot happier in this situation than Night Dew will be, but needless to say, Kane is a fantastic pickup for this party.
And he comes ready with a dragon or a Dragoon Spear, which, yeah, that's probably the most damage they've seen so far.
Yeah, not counting Golbez's reflected spells, those definitely don't count. Kane just casually killing the Mist Dragon also. Look, chat, I was excited for more than 4 Edwards too, but we have to have reasonable expectations and we have to be grateful with what we've already been given. For example, 4 early Edwards and a Ghost Hand. Not bad. Very well done, Solaris.
Spooky Hand. Spooky Hand is my favorite hand.
That one is objectively the best. You can't argue with that. All right, so Dusty picks up a crystal ring here, but does get another key item check out of this as well when we double back to the D-Mist spot here in just a moment. And I'm sure we're going to see Dusty also check the package character. I don't think we will see that Rosa get picked up either, unfortunately. I don't think any of our runners has checked either the waterfall or the vanilla Demus spot. I'm pretty sure somebody did check the waterfall, but I did not see what the character was. So
it was a Valvolus.
The boss, yeah, Valvolus. Okay, but I don't think anybody's checked the vanilla Demus spot yet, so we might see that here. We also have a rat tail, which we can't turn in yet. So this is another kind of interesting moment in the seed for Dusty. Dusty is kind of running out of options here. He basically just has Keyless Tower and that Luca key or the moon.
Now that I'd found a Palom, a Kane, and gotten some levels on my party, the moon doesn't seem quite so bad.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see Sandy, Cindy, Mindy. Just a little throwback to the intro, the Magus sisters that Scythe Marshall brought us with the meme objectives at the beginning. That's my little Hamilton reference that I'd like to make when I play Free Enterprise. Oh yeah, Dusty hasn't done ordeals yet.
I mean, ordeals is probably a good thing to knock out. If you do find a Cecil, we do already have a lightsaber for him. I don't know where you'd find that Cecil, but he just magically appears.
Yeah, that's very true. I think you kind of just have to do ordeals. This should go very smoothly for Dusty, which will be different than how it went for our other runners. So there is that, but I mean, suddenly Night Dew looking really, really good here. Probably will pull ahead if we're kind of counting on the scoreboard just how many checks the runners have done. Night Dew's probably going to be just a little bit ahead when the dust settles here, or they're going to be pretty much back to even at worst, I would say.
Unfortunately, Night Dew, having not done that Golbez yet, does not have that Dragoon Lance for the Kane.
That's a good point, too. I totally forgot about that. So advantage Dusty, but I think Night Dew's going to go take care of that right now, looks like. Yeah, Argent when the Dusty settles. Anyway.
But Ultros Professional and Arya both in the Tower of Zot. Going to pick up their Palom here in a minute.
Yeah, this is going to be another moment where we're going to see a lot of runners crossing over each other's paths. So just want to call out again, if you're interested in joining the league, you're running out of time, but you still can do so. This is qualifier 7 out of 15. You have to complete 4 in order to be considered for moving on to the bracket rounds, but there's 8 left after today. The next one after this will be on Friday night at our usual community race time. So you do have a couple days to decide, but I would say after this weekend, you're pretty much going to need to be in if you want to participate. So if you've been thinking about it, if you've been on the fence, definitely want to make that decision very, very soon. Also, pigs.
But why are there pigs?
That is a great question. So the reason that Night Dew turned his party into pigs before this fight is there is a hierarchy of status effects in Final Fantasy IV, which does carry over into Free Enterprise. And what the pigs are doing right now is they have canceled out the paralyzed that Golbez does at the beginning. So when you're a pig, you can't be paralyzed. You may also see runners occasionally change to mini characters, which also can't be paralyzed, just because of how the status effects work.
And the advantage of Dusty going into Mount Ordeals a little bit later than the rest of our runners, able to just take down that plague as is.
The old-fashioned way, arrows to the eyeball. So for all the options that we've given our runners with the first 2 key item checks in the seed being the Magma Key and the Darkness Crystal, it's pretty interesting. Nobody has really gone and done anything out of the ordinary, I would say, at this point. So We still got a couple options here. I'm really curious to see when somebody decides to go to the moon. I still think Dusty's probably going to go do it right now, but we'll see. The odds are pretty good at this point with what's left that the moon is going to actually be required to finish this seed. So,
yeah, really, just having Luca and top of tower left. Dusty is gonna do a Luca check.
Dusty probably feeling pretty good in his party right now. You know, we talked about maybe the downside of this is you might end up getting a blank, or you might end up getting a key item that you don't necessarily want to chase. The good news for Dusty is there's potentially a lot of value down here. One of the things that if it was down here could negate that really high likelihood of the moon being required is if the pan was down here, for example, which is 2 key item checks. We could also have our wyvern down here. It's a pretty hard to peak boss spot, so there's definitely some reasons to come down here. But if this doesn't pan out, Dusty's just spotting everybody a nice long walk to the bottom of Luca Cave.
And to answer a question in chat, Nightdew is not doing the King of Summon Monsters because we do not have summon bosses turned on for key items. So all that we could find is possibly a nice piece of equipment.
Which could be nice, but at the same time, we want to stay on target here. Another interesting divergence, Nightdew. So we got the Luca check coming up here from Dusty. Nightdew is doing Keyless Tower. Oh, Dusty finds a blizzard. Okay, now you got to find Wyvern here. You are just feeling really, really bad about the last couple minutes. So let's see what Dusty finds.
That is not a wyvern.
Nope. So Dusty, I mean, not the worst, but Dusty definitely spotting everybody a couple minutes here. From watching Dusty play in the past, Dusty's MO is absolutely to clear out the blue planet before heading up to the moon. So I totally understand. And I would say I even expected this. I was maybe hoping a little bit that Dusty would go up to the moon, but this does not surprise me at all. We've got a DKC and a CPU at the Rubicon spot. So still no Wyvern in sight, but we could see a new key item here.
Old man, why? Why would you do this?
And another interesting play. So we kind of talked about this, and chat was talking about this a little bit earlier. Ultros is going to go ahead and get this Rosa and check this package boss, which if Wyvern's here, that could be a really interesting play.
And this is a totally valid, totally understandable play. Sometimes you just don't feel comfortable with Porum. That's a legend sword. She doesn't have the HP growth that Rosa does, and she learns her spells quite a bit later.
Yep. So Rosa, yeah, having a Rosa in your party as opposed to an Edward, for example, absolutely makes sense. Might get the extra added value of the Wyvern here. Although it's worth noting, as soon as you find that demist, as soon as you find that demist with this spread of objectives, you don't have to go boss hunting, which I know for a lot of runners is generally a nice thing. You can kind of focus on just getting your key item checks done and not really having to worry about anything else. So that is definitely something that is going to be weighing on some of our runners' minds, but it doesn't mean that Ultros couldn't get a really nice advantage here if she does, in fact, find Wyvern. But speaking of things that we just found, you mentioned this, Allie. Nightdew and now Dusty have their Legend Sword.
That is a great key item to find, although you'd kind of wish you'd find both parts on the Earth so you don't have to come back to Forge. But yeah, that does mean that the moon is the play.
Yeah, there is a lot of value on this moon. because we've seen everything now. I believe we've seen everything the blue planet has to offer, and we still need 2 terminal key items or a wyvern left. So wyvern not necessarily on the moon, could be hiding at one of these other spots. But absolutely, we are going to need to pull at least 1 key item out of the lunar subterrane, which I don't know if is Zoe. I think Zoe is racing, but I know Zoe is probably very excited, or will be very excited when V finds out that we did in fact finally. I don't know if it's the first one. I haven't watched every single qualifier, but I know V was really, really wanting some more hard required LSTs, and I think we got one tonight.
Absolutely. I personally hope for some cheeky trapped chest checks up on the moon.
That would be cool. I do agree. I think we've got 3 sirens. We won't, and let's do a key item check. So Dusty, we know Dusty's got everything key item wise that we can find. So he's going to be going up to the moon with 7 key items. So not anywhere near 10. So yeah, maybe you're right there. We could see some trap chest checks as opposed to some sirens here.
Our restreamer Solaris pointing out there is a Tella in the bed.
Okay. Always, I'm glad that we avoided the early Tella in this seed, I have to say, especially with the early Darkness Crystal. I do think when you're playing this format, the further on you go into the seed, the less appealing AD machine grind becomes. And that is because we have the life glitch turned off in this format. So you don't, it's going to take you twice as long to get what you need. We've also been having a really weird character spread with not a lot of new characters joining the party. So that's going to make it pretty hard to slingshot somebody as well. So I don't really see any D machine grinds from our runners this seed, which I'm frankly pretty happy about. And I am also really excited for this required moon because, hey, it's in my name. I love the moon. What can I say?
Well, I'm kind of hoping that the seed says no Tellas, never, unless you want to work for it, and that Sand Ruby is behind Alt Gauntlet at Ogopogo.
I like where you're going with that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential rudeness that could be waiting our runners on this moon. We haven't seen Antlion. We haven't seen the Alt Gauntlet like you mentioned. We did see Odin. Odin was the Kaipo in boss, so that's one pretty tricky boss out of the pool. But there's definitely plenty of stuff. Evil Wall could be up here. Evil Wall would be very, very challenging in a lot of these spots. Especially, again, this is not a particularly great party, so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, a Rubicante in some of these spots can kind of wreck your day.
Absolutely, that's another really, really good one to call out. Kanazo, we could see like a Kanazo at the Ogopogo spot. That is not fun.
Or even worse, Kanazo at the Ribbon Room spot with all that health.
Yeah, that's another one. But I think we're going to start seeing here pretty soon because Dusty's going to be checking moon bosses here and knows that there's something up here that he needs. So
and I am noticing, did Nightdew not check Demist after he defeated Demist?
I don't think he did. That could really come into play because, yeah, that rat tail was our Demist check. And I don't think... We'll see if we can spot his inventory. I don't remember him getting it, but I mean, I could be wrong, so... And Solaris saying he doesn't have it marked on his personal tracker. So yeah, I think you're right, Allie. Good catch. That Nightdew forgot to check after defeating the Demist. So
I mean, I don't think there's anyone among us who hasn't done that at least once.
Well, it's not hurting him yet, and I mean, if the hook was already in play, that would be a really big deal. But there could be a point here where, you know, if Dusty pulls the hook, by the way, Water Hag at the Ribbon Room spot, so Our dreams of a extremely difficult moon are already taking a little bit of a hit here. And we find 2 more key items that do absolutely nothing to get us any closer to finishing this seed, although that does get Dusty to 9 key items now. Pass is not a key item, so... Solaris, where did you hide the value in this seed?
I'm hoping that it's behind a painfully long chain that involves all of the key items left.
And Twin Harp. I mostly want to see Twin Harp, but I absolutely agree with you. Really, the thing that our runners are looking for more than anything else, I would say, I think this is honestly a seed where you almost have to full clear the moon. But because you do not want to have to come back up here to find that one chain item that you missed, and we're still missing so much. And the odds of just the adamant and the sand ruby just kind of being in 2 of these spots is pretty small. It's almost certainly going to be behind the pan, for example, or the Baron key. So.
But Dusty has found a squid up here on the moon. Squid is very punchy. Squid Angie.
Yeah, and Dusty's party is still modestly... The levels are pretty modest still, so definitely got the tools to kind of slog it out, but not... nothing super fast. Just very efficient from Dusty right now, I would say.
Thankfully, the squid doesn't realize that the one casting Lit 3 is the enemy.
Yeah, very good call. And so we'll see what Dusty gets here. Night Dew is just about half of a fight behind. Oh, there's that hook. Oof. Allie, we were worried about that. This could be trouble for Night Dew, potentially.
Absolutely, but I don't see Dusty going back down until finding at least 1 or 2 more key items up here.
Yeah, I think there's a natural split when you're kind of clearing the moon. You definitely have to do the Ogopogo spot here. Also worth noting, Dusty has 10 key items now. Night Dew's going to have 9 once he finishes this fight. Yeah, Dusty's going to go get a little more XP here, it looks like. Which makes sense. You've got Artemis arrows, you've got a Dragoon spear. Definitely time to go fry some dragons.
Absolutely. These dragons are going to have a pretty bad time, and Dusty making the heads-up play of stopping one of them.
Doesn't work as well as you think, but it is going to skip at least a little bit. It looked like maybe it skipped 1 attack, but if it keeps 1 character alive at this point, it is definitely worthwhile. And you don't have to worry about timing those life glitches anymore. So this is, you know, not going to be too bad for Dusty.
But on the bottom side of the screen, both Ultros Professional and Arya are in this D-Mist fight, picking up the cane. It looks like both of our runners yeeted that Edward into the abyss.
That is a really interesting point. Yeah, because we do have Ultros and Arya now who are not dragging that Edward around anymore. And, you know, Dusty's got his party. He is grinding right now. Edward is here to stay. So I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference specifically for the 4 runners that are on stream. But having this Rosa as opposed to an Edward as this seed goes on could be a huge advantage for Ultros and Arya against some of the other runners. As we mentioned, there's 75 people in this race right now. So that is an Asura at the Ogopogo spot. Very interestingly, and I just saw it because I was pretty sure it was going to happen, Dusty's Porum just learned Wall. On that last grind fight, Night Dew's Porum does not know Wall, and so Night Dew now is going to go do those grinds, but Night Dew is unfortunately going to go do those... Oh, remember, I thought he was going to go grind. Night Dew is actually going to check the Wyvern spot, which is also a pretty smart move. But yeah, if Night Dew just had checked the D-Mist spot, would have those 10 key items, and we'd probably see him fighting some gold dragons as well right now, but he is taking a pretty major detour here.
Well, and we could have a vanilla wyvern, which would be a pretty good benefit to Night Dew. I doubt that Dusty Griff will leave the moon without taking on that. Ooh, ew, ooh.
Oh, this is not fun. This is not a fun fight for this party.
There's nothing about this that is even remotely ew.
Yeah, this is, you know, we've talked about the required punchy spots. I mean, this could end up being another punchy spot that is, well, we know it's not required, but because of the 4 out of 5 objectives, but this might be a very easy path for our runners geographically. But yeah, this spot is very, very challenging. Yeah, Night Dew just takes another wipe and is kind of back to square one, and this is going in there again, but Night Dew is kind of in a very awkward spot now, and you know, not to discredit or take anything away from Night Dew, who is an incredibly talented and accomplished runner, but you know, this should show everybody in chat, like sometimes you just forget to go check the Demus spot after you do that, and Night Dew would be in an entirely different position right now if he had 10 key items as opposed to 9.
Absolutely, especially with not having your really set up and easy grind options. All of those sirens are very precious.
Yeah, we don't have an edge, so you're not getting any more. And like the reason Night Dew is not doing sirens right now is he just really wants to squeeze all that value out, and that you're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. So we're going to try to slog through this antline again. It does look like it's going better. Sid is doing a really good job absorbing some hits there while the walls get up. Dusty, meanwhile, having a pretty slow Asura fight, but it should be safe.
Yep, able to get that wall up, and don't have to worry about Asura folk healing herself.
Yep, so we're just gonna probably be here for a little bit watching these two fights. Arya and Ultros are kind of winding things down a little bit on the blue planet. Just finished up Dwarf Castle. Both have that cane like we talked about, doing a little bit of shopping. I saw Arya bought some tiaras. Ultros is doing some shopping as well.
And Arya gonna go ahead and check that Demus spot. Get their rat tail.
And just another thing to call out on Night Dew's side again. So I mentioned this earlier when Arya did that fight, the plague fight at Ordeals. And when you wipe on a fight, especially in a race like this, you don't want to just go back in and do the same thing again. So Night Dew's decision this time was to turn the battle speed down to 3, which I think you can already tell is just making this fight go a lot more smoothly. And just being able to make those little adjustments on the fly and not get too frustrated, always a sign of a really, really good runner.
And Dusty Griff does have his Porum on the ground. Gonna get her back up, but hopefully that wall doesn't expire in that time.
No, Asura actually expired in that time, so Dusty's very happy now. And yeah, that fight was long. Oh, Night Dew gets a light sword, and Dusty gets the pan. Okay, pan is a pretty big find there, so that is a big, big find for Dusty. He has the hook, he has the rat tail, he has the pan. Again, Sylph is not a key item check, but Dusty still has 2 free key item checks waiting when he gets back to the blue planet. I suspect we will see him go do that wyvern fight now, but might see him go do those checks afterwards potentially too.
Yep. I would expect Dusty to take on that Bahamut spot before heading back down, just in case you do find all of your required objectives down on the blue planet. You don't have to worry about coming back up and then back down.
That is true. Oh, I thought Dusty was actually getting set up to save Scum there, but he's not. Oh, he's going to open a couple chests on the way up to this Wyvern fight too. I think Dusty thinks he's almost ready. He's almost done with this seed in terms of fights.
I am very excited about the trap chests.
Yeah, you were talking about this earlier, and we see a behemoth fight, which truthfully it's one of the easier ones. The behemoth script is not super complicated. It just counterattacks. So if you have good party, like the 2 crystal rings, it's very safe. The worst thing that could happen is over on the whole is, Edward could go down, not really a big deal. Sid could go down. That's about it. And it's going to be a nice chunk of XP here for Dusty. Meanwhile, Nightdew is playing with his dolls again at the Pale Dim altar.
Dolls are one of those fights that typically aren't too much of a problem as long as you've got some manner of, I don't know, AoE. But you definitely don't want the big doll to come out here up on the moon because big doll hurts.
Absolutely. And Nightdew just taking this fight nice and slow. He's doing some twin magic, or I'm sorry, not twin magic. He's doing some bluffing. Again, Nightdew's got those lower levels. He's very far away from where we know that Pan is right now, which could be a problem. We'll see. Ultros, meanwhile, has dipped into the Giant here. Maybe going to do a trap chest, maybe going to go Wyvern hunting.
I do believe Ultros is looking for a Mech Giant, having turned on encounters.
I mean, this is a good spot to do some grinding if you like your party for it. There's definitely a lot to like here. Although the actual encounter, yeah, there's an Ogre Axe on that cane, so that is definitely what Ultros is looking for. The problem is that fight is very difficult to find, and I guess you can kind of get some nice XP in the meantime. Oh, speaking of nice things, Nightdew finds an Adamant Rock at the Pale Dim spot. So Nightdew is currently lugging around Objective 3 in his pocket. Now, just needs to find that Wyvern, really, but appears to be heading back down to that Asura spot, which definitely seems like a good play from where we are and what we know.
Yep, having gotten that 10th key item, gonna feel a lot more comfortable doing his grind.
I really wonder too if Nightdew has realized that he has missed the Demus turn-in yet. It's one of those things when you're a runner, like it's kind of like when you forget something at work and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my gosh, I left that on, or I forgot that. Probably has remembered by now, but you can't just go back and do it. He's gonna have to wait until he goes back for other reasons too.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, on Dusty's side, Dusty has hit White and Nuke on the small children and gonna mop up the rest of these bosses.
Yeah, and this is just really nice gathering of XP here by Dusty. Dusty really knows how he wants to proceed through the seed, knows he doesn't have a lot of XP left on the table just from those boss checks, and could really be in go mode very soon. So just wants to take a couple not really safe, high XP fights and just kind of get those last couple spells for a party that's frankly not very good and is going to have a Porum healing. So you really just kind of need some levels for that.
That Porum does have almost 1800 HP, which that's a lot more HP than your Porums usually have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we do see Ultros fighting the last arm chest, maybe hoping for just a nice piece of equipment, some levels, may want to check the bosses up here.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see a boss check at the element spot. There's not a lot of great gear that you could get here. An Avenger would be amazing if Ultros could pull an Avenger. Moonveil's nice. I would have no complaints about that, but mostly we're just seeing a grind here and probably a boss check. So, you know, we're definitely seeing a little bit more of what this seed has to offer, and it could just give us as viewers some pretty cool information for as we watch the rest of the seed wrap up. Because what we know is we're just looking for the Sand Ruby now.
Yep, but it looks like Night Dew, having spent all his sirens, is going to head back down and probably take out that Ashura and pick up his pan.
Yeah, definitely. And Night Dew did get to 10 key items, so did some grind there. Did those Warlocks, which is pretty smart, again, because he has a mute knife and could mute them and all that. So definitely good play by Night Dew there. So Dusty is getting boogied on out of here. Arya is coming back up top side. Maybe still has to finish Baron in, maybe kind of clean up a little bit here on the overworld, but I'm sure none of that is going to be too much of a problem anymore.
Looks like setting up for a Mac Giant grind. Gonna do the Baron manipulation.
Interesting. So or may just be having a moment of quiet contemplation. Nope, actually you were right. You called it. So I mentioned earlier that Mac Giant grind is incredibly difficult to find. One of our carryovers from ZZ3 was a grind chart where you could find, you could predict with perfect accuracy based on what encounters you got down here in this starter area, where when the Mac Giant grind encounter would be. So we're just seeing Arya set that up, I believe, here. Good call.
And Dusty Griff did give us rocks on the dolls.
Indeed, and yeah, Dusty has cleared the moon. Dusty has all of his forge as well. Arya getting that Mac Giant grind on the first attempt, which is really hard to do. That chart is not fun. It's almost as not fun as finding it in the wild, which is what Ultros is trying to do. Although I think Ultros is just kind of happy to get some XP more generally too. So really, really good decision making, I would say, by some of our newer runners as well. Don't put yourself into a position where you're going to get frustrated or get walled. You know, do the things that you need to do to keep progressing through the seed. And, very nicely done by both of them.
Well, and you get to do something that you don't get to do every day, and go up and fight Mac Giants.
Indeed. Carice, I hope it's not a D-Machine grind, because I don't think we have a good way of killing D-Machines, but I could be wrong. Meanwhile, Dusty is going to finish up objective number 2 here, and we've got a noodle in Cave Bahamut tonight.
We are going to microwave the noodle.
This poor noodle is going to be pretty dried out after this, I would say.
But it looks like we will see if this is a D-Machine or a Mac Giant.
Yeah, the single searcher is the Mac Giant grind fight. So again, yeah, very nicely done by Arya, finding this so efficiently. I wouldn't say for sure this is what Ultros has been doing this whole time, but this is the fight that Ultros has been trying to find along with the other random encounters since she entered the Giant probably 8 or 9 minutes ago, I want to say. I wasn't paying a ton of attention, but it does seem like she's been up here for a fair amount of time now.
And that is objective number 2 done for Dusty Griff. The moon has been completely cleared out. No reason to come back here. We get to use the pass.
Yep, and Dusty just has to go turn in those 2 freebies and then figure out the most efficient way through whatever options are presented there. So, or I guess could just be in go mode potentially. If he gets the Sand Ruby from either of those freebies, but I don't know, Solaris. I want to see a nice, nasty long chain that culminates in the Sand Ruby. I think that would be fun for everyone.
So Tower Key to Baron Key to Twin Harp, and Twin Harp holding Wyvern and the Sand Ruby.
That sounds great. Let's do it. So we're doing the rat tail first, which makes sense again if you think about the pan is only one key item this time, and you have to go all the way down, bonk Yang in the bed, and then come all the way back up to Sheila. So, and also Dusty's going to be able to turn in the pink tail this way as well. So.
And it looks like Ultros has left the Giant, did not check the bosses, probably just wanted some experience to go ahead and possibly take on this Leviathan.
Yep, sounds good. Hopefully it won't be too big of a deal. We do know that Wyvern is not going to be super required for this seed to be completed, so hey, it's another Dragoon Spear.
And it's a Tower Key.
All right, bring on the chains, bring on the chains.
Meanwhile, Night Dew has taken down that Ashura.
Yeah, and I believe that is the last boss fight for Night Dew on the moon. So now Night Dew just has to, will almost certainly go do that Bahamut spot as well, and then head back down. Just a couple minutes behind where Dusty is right now. We're gonna forge. What does Porum get as their Supersmith cool weapon?
That I don't know. How about a Stardust Rod for Pelham?
Dusty did have plenty of money after that grind. Ooh, he got a Nirvana staff.
And chat telling us it's either a stat stick or a stat stick, so we got a stat stick.
I mean, it just kind of smells like Twin Spirit to me. I don't know.
I don't know whether to applaud or groan.
Why not both? Interestingly, Dusty is going to go check Tower Key instead of doing the pan turn in, which I can't really argue with. I think it's one of those you follow your chains things, and this is not a huge deal in terms of time investment, but boy, if this is like the Twin Harp or the Baron Key, I think you still have to go check the pan after this. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, Solaris making a really good point as well. This is probably faster than the pan, And another way to think about this for Dusty too is Dusty is closing out the underground right now. So once Dusty does this check in the pan, he won't even have to come underground anymore. So it makes sense, Solaris. Good call out there. Absolutely. It could be Wyvern, but it is in fact Leg. We will not get to see the aforementioned Leg though, because Dusty has dispatched Rubicant just that quickly.
Sorry, Leg. But Ultros has taken down that Wyvern, and now gonna head over to start her lunar subterranean dive.
Yep, so another objective, or I should say an objective on the board for Ultros. It should be noted that Objective 2, just in general, is a pretty difficult fight. Objective 4 was no joke in this seed as well, so this is, Ultros' first objective, 1 hour 20 into the seed. There were no gimmies in this one. We've definitely had some qualifiers where there was a boss hunt somewhere easy, or just a key item somewhere very easy to finish off. Nothing came easy in this seed in terms of the objectives. So.
And looks like Arya is going to check that Luca cave before heading up to the moon. Would definitely make sense if you had, that.
Dusty gets the twin harp for the tower key, by the way. I hope we get to see music, Solaris. I really do. I want the Sand Ruby to be at the twin harp spot, guarded by Wyvern. That would be fantastic.
Or it could have the Baron key, and the Baron key be guarding what? Wait, no, I'm confused.
I appreciate maybe a gentle application of witchcraft to that call, but honestly, there's like 3 key items left, so let's not give me too much credit here. There's another stick from the Sylphs. All right, Night Dew is doing his pan in, turn in. Ultros has frogged the dolls, which is always fun to see. That will prevent them from turning into Big Doll. And Arya is going to check the Luca cave now and will find a nice heaping scoop of disappointment.
Yummy, yummy disappointment. But we'll see if Sheila has the goods today, or if we have some music.
It's okay. We got our epic chain, so we know where it is now. There's nothing left it could be, other than Twin Harp into Baron Key into Sand Ruby. But the twist is Twin Harp has Wyvern, and we don't have to do Baron Key anyways. So.
But what if Twin Harp had the alt gauntlet and then Wyvern was at Baron Castle?
That'd just be fun for the whole family. I'm down. And yeah, Dusty is now guaranteed to 17 out of 17 this seed. There's absolutely no way the Sand Ruby is our Twin Harp item. It has to be Baron Key.
But, Blaze, why are we so excited to hear Edward play that nasty music?
Because unlike the Dark Elf, Ellie, we love our Twin Harp music, and we are going to enjoy one of our many wonderful harp renditions. We have several fantastic composers in our community now that have contributed songs. I don't remember the most recent number with the update, but I know a bunch more got added in the update. So I'm really just hoping for something new, because that would be fantastic.
I would love to hear something new. Maybe something that's never been streamed before.
I mean, this early on in the version update, it is definitely possible. So here's hoping that that this happens. But I think, let's make sure this stone lands. Oh, nope, it didn't hit. They have crystal rings on, Dusty. Remember, you put those on them. So we'll be waiting a little bit longer here.
And Night Dew is starting to realize I've missed something.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think Night Dew just realized that he forgot to do the Demus check. Yeah, and that's amazing. We actually got to basically see Night Dew in real time. Remember that. And he's actually having to go check with Rose's mom. Wow. Wow. That's just so interesting for me to see. And I know that, you know, this is a little bit more like backroom discussion. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. And I know it comes across a little bit canned sometimes when we say stuff like you can have the best runners in the game and they just miss stuff sometimes, especially in big races like this. But you actually just get to see it here. And you know what? Everybody's human. Everybody forgets stuff. Everybody makes mistakes. So if you've ever beaten yourself up over forgetting something easy or missing a check, just remember it happens to the best of us. So.
And I think this is a check that everybody has forgotten at least once.
Oh yeah, it is the easiest check to forget in the entire game, because a lot of times what'll happen is you'll fight the Demist at a key item spot, you'll get something like a different key item that you'll go chase, and then you'll just completely forget to go do that turn in. So, but yeah, that's why the tools are in the randomizer, so that you can figure it out, because we all need that sometimes.
Also, I wasn't paying attention. Who was the boss on Dusty Griff's side?
I also just realized we talked over music, and I am feeling so bad right now. Did we really just do that?
Rivers would approve.
No, I think we might have just got our commentary cards revoked or suspended for, let's say, a week, Allie.
I could live with that.
Yeah. The good news is everybody's going to have to do it, so we'll hear it again next time. Yeah.
We'll be quiet this time.
I think I'm just going to stop talking right now, and just to be safe.
But I'm curious. I don't remember who gave us our key item at the beginning.
I actually, who was it? Oh no, it was Bahamut. It was Bahamut, yeah.
So in this case, do you go for the possibility at Odin, or do you do the longer check of killing the boss at the king spot?
I think you have to do the king spot, because you know it's the Sand Ruby. If it was a possibility where more stuff was out there, you might be tempted to go check that Odin spot first, but in this case you have to go check that king spot first, I think.
Well, and especially as Chad is pointing out, it could still be at the king queen spot, it could be up on the giant.
Yeah, that's also a good point.
And we do see that Arya has taken out that Golbez and gotten Objective 4 finished.
Yeah, very nicely done. I think Arya is kind of in that position some of our other runners were a little while ago, where this is kind of finishing up everything on the Earth, and now it is time to go to the moon. It's King Wall on the throne. They had to install an extra wide throne for the foundation of that boss, but we got there.
And with a nuke from Palom, this means Dusty Griff will be getting his crystal.
Yep, and I think it is also confirmed as well. Wyvern is hide and seek champion of this seed. So well done, Wyvern. Let's get a round of applause in the chat. So,
and there's your Cecil.
Not now, Cecil. We're busy.
So as a child, I thought that when you got more than 5 characters, that meant a character had to die when I played this game.
That would be very emotionally difficult, I think. Although the game does kind of teach you that at certain points. You can never have a party over 5 or somebody's got to go. All right, Dusty has collected all of the things. Dusty has a sand ruby. Dusty's about to go wake up Tella, and we'll get his crystal, and then we will be off to Zeromus. But in the meantime, Nightdew is checking that twin harp.
And we're going to be very quiet.
Very, very quiet.
Blaze, we have to ask the question.
I forgot I was on push to talk. It is question time. We got to ask the question. Allie, what's the question?
Is butt cute?
Usually, all butts are cute. It just depends on the viewer. But absolutely, we need to know who's cute or scary or just butty butt we are going to be kicking tonight. Dusty Griff is about to show us, and yeah, and we all got to enjoy the Chrono Trigger music there from Nightdew, so that was very fun.
But we see the crystal is thrown, and
I know what that's from. That's from Final Fantasy VII.
but we don't have the underwater materia.
Yeah, where's our huge materia? We're trying to get here. I forget. Also, Dusty is doing reflect strats here, which, you know, why not? Good plan here from Dusty. Set the battle speed down to 3 before he went in as well. Just gonna have a nice smooth Z fight here. So
please do not kill the white mage.
Yep, that would be very mean. We need that small child to survive. Especially with that Nirvana staff, I'm sure we're going to see nothing but 9s from Porum here, so. And Dusty's like run buffering, very, very much trying to get this, keep this Porum upright here, so. And we're good.
And we see that big bang come out. Edward should survive this.
Edward might survive a Zemus fight, everyone. I did see some chatter earlier in the race chat just about how Dusty might be feeling a lot of pressure doing a 17 out of 17 on this seed. I would say normally when you're racing and you get a 17 out of 17, you feel like you probably did something wrong or you got super unlucky. In this case, I'm honestly not sure if Dusty could say that or is going to feel that way, just because that narrow path to the end of the seed with the Sand Ruby was so linear. And really only required one of those moon key items, although the adamant was also up there, so that was nice. But we never found Wyvern. There wasn't really a way to kind of really get to the end of the seed quickly that we could tell. There might be something else out there that we didn't see, like on the Giant, for example, and that could end up being a factor. But I don't think Dusty's going to be too unhappy about that 17 out of 17. Oh, this doesn't. This looks a little scary.
Based on how much Dusty has done, we can't be more than 1 or 2 nukes away from killing Zemus.
Yeah, it's probably fine, but you always want to just be sure, so. Okay, it's gonna need at least one more. Meanwhile, Night Dew's about to get his crystal.
And we see this nuke go out. Is this going to be enough?
It was.
GG's to Dusty Griff. Finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 11 seconds, and our first place finisher.
Oh, man. Okay, so yeah, definitely not feeling too bad about that 17 out of 17. I feel pretty comfortable in saying. Very nicely done by Dusty, winning qualifier number 7, and we'll see if we can get him in here for an interview shortly.
I do believe that beding indicates that Dusty has joined us. GG's to you.
Hey, GG's.
Very nice race, Dusty. That was really a... Looking at the first little bit of that seed and then how it finished up, we always talk about those seeds where you get the magma key and the darkness crystal early on, just being like, okay, pick your poison, good luck. But it still felt like the seed kind of rewarded or wanted you to play fairly linear, and then the end was just like a total line to the finish. So
yeah,
I mean, what were kind of like your thoughts going through? I would say maybe the very beginning of the seed when it was so open, and then the very end of the seed when you found out it was so linear.
It was pretty interesting because, like you said, it opened up really quickly. the thing about that seed was we didn't have the strongest party until after I did Dwarf and got Kane and had some levels on everyone and stuff. Things felt pretty good. But since I kind of wanted to play this one a little more aggressive, so I was I was considering going to Moon and stuff, but I was like, the seed just like does not want me to do that at any point here. It just never felt like it would reward me from trying to make that like gutsy play. So I continue to play more or less how I always do and clear out things in the over and underworld. And they even did, I left ordeals for a really long time because I was just kind of like, whatever, I have other better options, but it kind of came to a point of now I have to really make the choice of do I just clear everything over in Underworld or go to Moon here? And it kind of came to the option of, okay, that's just what I'll do because my party setup isn't the greatest, but I want to keep getting stronger. And I kind of want to get set up for potentially getting 10 key items on the Moon. And that did reward me pretty well because it really led me into kind of decent grind setup and all of that.
I'm sorry, you didn't want to go to the Moon with Sid, a Porum, and an Edward?
Slightly not. Eddie was doing a lot of good stuff. He laid down for most of the seed, but I'd be curious to see what other people did when they saw that Rosa at package, because I was considering that, but like I mentioned, that was one of the things I was like, I can make do with what I have here. I know I can make this work, but yeah, it was kind of interesting early on with a Sid Purim Eddie party for quite a while.
Yeah, you were for most of that seed. We were only one Edward short of a boy band, so I mean, it was getting comical in the booth. We were just hoping for 2 Edwards at Zod and an Edward at Dwarf Castle and just all of that. So, and yeah, that package choice was actually pretty interesting because it became pretty clear once we saw that you said no to that Rosa, that was your party. You were just rolling with Porum and Edward the rest of the way. And I thought you compensated for that extremely well. We saw you do those couple trap chests on the Moon once you had 10 key items, and you got really rewarded. I guess my question on that, because we've kind of hypothesized a lot about this, and from all the chats we've had about designing the flags and what we really wanted runners. We really wanted runners to be doing more trap chests. You had really good gear for those fights too. Was that something you were thinking of pretty early on, or was it like, when did it kind of dawn on you that was a good play? And it sure seemed like it was. So
yeah, it felt really good this time around. It's been something I've done not every seed, but certainly becoming more common for me, and it just feels kind of nice when you can just do it and pick up a couple extra nice items. When I got Kane and he had the Dragoon Spear, that kind of solidified. I was like, okay, for some reason I have 50 crystal rings and decent gear for Kane and Dragoon Spear. It's looking pretty well like I'll do some trap chests on the Moon, mainly because if I run into like the red D or a blue D chest, then he can take that down pretty easily, as well as he's good for a behemoth chest, and the other chests are honestly, what's really nice is when you have a Palom set up in your party, he gets stone, not early, but relatively early, at least when you're going into a grind. So stone makes the Warlock carry fights really fast too. So there's just lots of interesting ways I think you can go about clearing out those trap chests really quickly, and that just made my grind really nice and quick, I found. So I was pretty happy about that. I pretty much as soon as I got Kane, I was like, oh, this looks like I'm going deep in the Moon and then doing some trap chests.
Well, we were very excited to see that because I love trap chests. So I was like, yay!
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. One other cool little subtle play that I think Solaris kind of picked up on, our restreamer, in the chat, was you came back down from the Moon. You had the rat tail in the pan. And I think all of us who have played this game so much, we're just kind of ingrained like, oh, you check your freebies first. But you actually checked the rat tail, and then instead of the pan, you did the tower key. And it was pretty clear after you were doing it that was absolutely the right play, because it gave you another boss check. It helped you kind of close out the underworld that you weren't going to need to come back down there anymore after that pan, which is honestly really nice too. So we just thought that was a really cool heads up play and wanted to mention that, and also just kind of hear any other thoughts that you had on that.
Yeah, thanks. That was it is funny that you mentioned that, because in that moment I was like, yeah, like your gut says here, because we're kind of so exactly as you mentioned, we're so trained to go, oh, you do pan here, obviously you get it done as free, yada yada yada. Like that's just what you do. But I was like, oh wait, no, we still have an objective that's like could be Wyvern here, and it also could be Sand Ruby here. So it's like it's just straight up the better play to do Tower Key. So that was a bit of a eureka thought in the moment, to be like, okay, that's just what I need to do here. And the thing is as well that I kind of ended up thinking, I was like, if it was on key items possibly be at summons, then pan is pretty decent because of 2 key item checks, but there's only 1 key item check out of it on this flag set. And also tower is about similar if it's not all gauntlet there in completion time. So it felt like a pretty decent play just overall. So yeah, I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that was really fun to see. And just to give everybody watching a little bit of an update, it does look like Nightdew took a wipe there on the first attempted Zeromus. Nightdew's Porm has quite a, like probably 400 or 500 less hit points than yours did, Dusty. So yeah, just again, those decisions that you made up on the moon, when I'm sure like you're just kind of thinking, go, 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 you know, that Wyvern might be somewhere, or, you know, I might have one of these freebies that just turns into everything I need. But really, patience did really pay off in the seed, kind of like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like I was almost playing slow, but it felt like the seed just wanted you to do that for so much of it. And then I looked at my timer when I was finished moon. I was like, oh, I've like finished everything pretty much in the over and underworld and the moon. It's still only an hour 20 in, so I'm pretty happy with an hour 39 basically full clear on this seed. So yeah, overall I don't think it gets much better than that in terms of the seed getting paid back for linear play. So it worked out pretty well this time.
Well, it was definitely a great job. It was a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a winner on stream so far, so that's a kind of a cool experience. It might not happen again with how big these qualifiers are. I think this one is 75 tonight, so.
Yeah, these are huge qualifiers, and I was pretty pumped that I was able to pull a win and be on the restream. I typically don't put my name in for the restream, but this time around I was like, oh, why not? And luck should have it tonight, I guess.
Well, it's definitely going to boost your score up a little more. I know coming into this, you were third, which, I mean, just top 16 getting to draft, I'm sure, is probably ultimately where you want to be, but the higher the better, just in terms of theoretically how you're going to end up. What's your kind of personal goal the rest of the way, since we might not see again on another one of these qualifiers? We might not see it till the bracket, but we're definitely going to see in the bracket and probably drafting. So what's your kind of approach going to be to the second half of the qualifiers here?
I'm going to miss, I think, at least all the qualifiers on this weekend, so I'm happy to have gotten as many in up to this point that I could get in. So this upcoming weekend, I'm not going to be playing in any, as far as I know. But after next week, I'm hoping to get, after the weekend, I'm hoping to get in a few more. And as you said, I'm in a mostly comfortable spot now. But I always kind of want to see what I can do better on a flag set and how much I can push what my playstyle will be. So I'm still kind of figuring out what exactly that looks like for this flag set, and it kind of changes obviously seed to seed, as it always does, and that's the way the rando goes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how I've been playing so far, and I'm hoping I can improve it just a little bit more, a few more tweaks.
As someone who gets really deep into these tournaments, do you like, dislike, or indifferent to the fact that we're not changing flag sets between kind of like the preliminary round and the bracket round?
I'm pretty indifferent to it. To me, changing the flags between the two rounds never affected me too much. I've always been, or a lot of times I've been fairly fortunate to be in a place where I've had some time to practice the other flag set in between, but I know that's not the same for everyone. But yeah, I'm kind of actually liking the fact that we're not changing flag sets on this one, mainly for the fact that we might see the meta evolve even more than we have across other tournaments, because it takes quite a while for metas to form and most efficient play for a flag set and all that sort of thing. So the fact that we are going to have a few months on this flag set with so many people trying at it is going to be pretty cool to see what comes out of it. So I'm excited for that.
Well, definitely. I look forward to seeing you more in the tournament once we get into more bracket play and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you both for commentating tonight. Thank you, Solaris, for restreaming, Scythe Marshall for tracking. Appreciate it. GG's to all the runners in this one. It's been so hype so far. It's just these humongous qualifier races. There's something about them that brings a lot of hype. So pretty excited about it and looking forward to the rest of the tournament.
Awesome. And yeah, congrats on winning one on Restream. That's going to be a pretty special moment of the tournament for you, I'm sure, regardless of what happens from here on out. So.
Oh, for sure. Thanks again.
Yeah, have a good night, Dusty.
You both too.
And that was our first place finisher, Dusty Griff. In the meanwhile, we did see Ultras Professional and Area kind of moving closer and closer to getting their crystal. And Night Dew having a little bit of problems with this Zemus fight. Zemus is not a joke, even for top runners.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing some more careful play here, some nerfing, some other stuff that you might see in a more of a touch and go Zemus fight. I didn't really see if Night Dew made any adjustments between fight number 1 and fight number 2 here, but does look like he's in a fairly solid position. Interestingly, did pick up Tella over Edward, which I can't really argue with just based on the utility, but the problem is the big bangs and the low hit point totals that the twins both have. So we'll see if he can get through it this time. Meanwhile, Arya is really pretty quickly closing in on his crystal here, so we might have another Zemus fight sooner rather than later here.
Absolutely. And I haven't really seen what Arya's levels look like, but he does have that Rosa, and Rosa just gets more hit points than Porum does.
Yeah, that Rosa is going to make a huge difference when it comes time to finish off Zemus here, or face Zemus here, I should say. So, but again, Night Dew is doing a really good job nerfing big bangs. Just nerfed another big bang, I believe. So, kind of slogging through it, just trying to get this fight across the finish line, and hopefully we'll be able to do so here pretty quickly. Yeah, that's true. Chat pointing out we did see Arya do a Mac Giant grind. We saw Ultros do some grind fights in the Giant. So we've really gotten to see a lot of really cool play in this seed. We talked about Dusty doing those lunar trap chests, getting some XP that way. We saw some Giant grinds, 2 different flavors there. But ultimately, everybody is getting this funnel, Tower Key to Twin Harp to Baron to Sand Ruby. Nobody has found Wyvern. Wyvern, again, hide and seek champion of this seed. So,
and I think I think it was Scythe Marshall that said Wyvern has to be at the Giant, at the Odin spot, or at the King Queen spot.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's the only ones we weren't able to account for. Even though we did have 2 runners in the Giant, I don't think either of them checked the element spot. So yeah.
But Night Dew just kind of plugging away at this Zemus. Unfortunately, the Zerker's not doing a ton of damage, but as long as he keeps getting those nerfs off, should be able to get through this. And we do see Ultros taking on her Golbez fight. Has quite a bit more HP than a lot of our other runners did when they took on this fight. So a lot less dangerous, even if not the best characters survive. But that was a pretty nasty big bang there. I think that must have been the high roll one. And I did not see if a nerf went out or not. But Scythe Marshall in chat asking an interesting question. Once we got the legend, would it have been faster to read the boss locations and check for Wyvern instead of going through that long chain? If Wyvern was somewhere that wasn't terrible, it could have definitely been. But if Wyvern was somewhere a lot nastier, say at the CPU spot, the chains would have been shorter for sure. Especially if, say, Alt Gauntlet was at the Element spot.
And Arya is about to get that Sand Ruby. Ultros taking down Golbez right there. So we got to see a couple objectives getting done side by side. Really nice. Nicely done.
And looks like Nightdew is in nuke phase.
Yep, so that would be, I guess technically if you consider Meteo phase to be phase 3, that would make it. So Nightdew is in phase 2 of the Zeromus fight right now. Still powering through, just got that Cure 4 off in time. I didn't catch if this got nerfed or not. It did not, wow. But poor Palom survives, thankfully. Please no rocks.
Yep, rocks right now would be probably terminal. We'll see if Porum is... Uh-oh.
Oh no. Come on, Crystal Rings. Okay, we're okay. It's okay. It's still good. It's still good. All right, we're fine.
And all we need to do is just keep that cane up. And with Porum alive, that is a crack and a boom.
All right, and yeah, Nightdew is done. Yeah, 20th place. Ooh, and again, but again, this is out of 75 runners, so that's still in the top, third. This was a very difficult, very long, sloggy seed, and very difficult Z fight. And I think we have Nightdew in here to talk about it. Hi, Nightdew.
Hello.
I see Porum is very happy on your screen to have defeated Zeromus.
I believe that's a little more relieved, maybe. That was a thing. I may be a little bit rusty. I missed so many nerfs on that fight. Yeah, something like that.
So you know what we want to ask you about, and I just want to know, you said you were kind of feeling rusty. I don't think it ended up ultimately costing you too much time just because of how the seed finished out, but how was that couple, 30 seconds there when you were trying to figure out what you were missing, and then you remembered that you hadn't checked the demist spot?
I remember like especially at Dwarf. And the thing is, it's like, okay, we got to peek D-Mist off of Earth. We got to, we got all this information. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm going to go Dwarf because of D-Mist. And, I'm going to get 2 checks out of this. And what did I do after Dwarf? That's a very good question. What did I do after Dwarf? I think I went, oh, that's right. I think I went, I went after Golbez because I'm like, oh, hey, I've got Piggy strats. Let's go do that. And it was definitely a case of the shinies there. And I'm thinking, and it actually still turned out to be, but as soon as Asura dropped that, I believe it was a Gungnir, I'm like, wait a minute here. So rather than rack my brain, I'm like, okay, let's go to the one person in the sea that knows exactly what's going on, and showcasing Rose's mother at least. So and just going through, and I'm like, wait a minute, she just said something about Demus, and I'm like, oh no, here we go. Because I knew, like, I was already into the whole idea that I had done like almost every other check. So knowing that that long Earth chain had the Sand Ruby was known to me, but it was just like, yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately, like we were saying, I don't think it really cost you more than that little bit of time, but it was one of those things we were talking about. It was like, well, I'm sure he's remembered by now that he forgot to check that, and he'll just check it when he gets back down there. And it's like, oh no. But yeah, it ended up being probably not the really deciding factor too much based on just how that seed ended up. But that Z fight was very difficult. You were kind of alluding to how you needed to kind of nerf your way through it and some of that. So do you want to talk about that a little bit? Just maybe some adjustments you made, assumptions that you made that didn't quite pan out on the first attempt, and how you adjusted for that?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, the best part of having that Z fight is obviously that silk web that came in the bookshelf in Rose's mom's house. But it has been a while since I've done a grindy Z fight like that. Let's just kind of say that. And I know I've done nerf strats when it comes down to it, and I knew at that point. And honestly, at the first phase of it, like when he went to new phase, he got away from it. But how many counter nukes did Forum eat? And I think the MVP of it was actually Palom, who never dropped until that final Meteo. Actually, was there to chuck life potions. I just knew. And that's kind of why I took that Tella too. I didn't think he'd be as slow as he was there. He did get one very clutch cure 4, one clutch cure 3. It did some things there, but I knew I was going to get into a slog when you're running with Earthhammer Sid and a Kane without an Avenger kind of thing. So when it comes down to it, I mean, it's just you're doing 3,500. And I was just really kind of hoping to use Tella for a few extra berserks. That didn't pan out, but I mean, everybody was really getting 2 turns to his 1 at that point.
I mean, it definitely seemed like a good decision. We saw Dusty keep Edward, but you did, in theory at least, get some more utility out of the Tella. But Dusty also had a little more XP. He did some trap chests. It was really interesting to watch his race because, as I'm sure you saw, he finished first, and we got to watch the whole thing on the restream. It didn't, he fell into some rabbit holes. He got stuck in certain spots, kind of the same way you would expect most people to do in a seed like this. But just some of those little small decisions, especially getting the XP chunks when he did, probably made a pretty big difference. So. But how are you feeling about the format right now? What do you like? What do you not like? More qualifiers for you soon?
Qualifiers, I am pretty much locked into like every Monday and Friday race. I love the format here. It's challenging, but not too challenging kind of thing. Honestly, I've run into kind of like this on some of the practice here. And I really fought about, as soon as I took out that Asura, knowing that I really wasn't going to kind of grind on Earth. I'm like, wait a minute, do I just do I pick up a fight here? Do I get Nuke on the Kid? Getting Nuke on the Kid would make that so much better, by the way. Getting a little bit more hit points on the Porum, because when I bypassed the Rosa on the package, it wasn't because I don't like Rosa, it's because she was giving me more of the same of what I had, and honestly, it wasn't what I was looking for. I was just looking for, like, damage, and yes, Rosa can do that, but it's like, do I really want to sit 3 minutes through a package fight, even though I guess it could be Wyvern?
Yeah, that was a choice. Both you and Dusty decided not to get that Rosa because, like you said, that's a long chain, and if there's not a Wyvern to kind of boost it at the end, it is kind of hard to justify.
Yeah, and at that point, I think I had like Earth Crystal. Well, no, that was after Earth Crystal. I mean, after being disappointed by Spoony Bards as far as the eye could see, we were just praying for anything. I mean, we had so much Hanzo. We knew Edge wasn't in the seed. The rather trolly Cecil at Baron Castle after everything was pretty much ready to go. Yeah, that was very interesting, and one heck of a seed. I'd love to see just Z execution. I would have loved that so much more.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. But you still put on a great race, and still pulled it out with a less than optimal team.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely glad I have a few more qualifiers. I mean, 20th isn't terrible. Gets you probably in the field, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely kind of want to do a little bit better than that kind of thing. I want to draft, but if I don't, I just want to get in there, and I mean, I just love the tournaments they put on here.
You wear that underdog hat really well, Night Dew. I'm not too worried about you once you get to the brackets, and I'm sure we'll see you there. So, and I'll just say, we worked really hard on this flag set to produce more races and seeds like this. So I know we're definitely hoping to see more twisting, turning, skill rewarding, seat clenching Z fights, kind of like yours was tonight. All of these are kind of things we were hoping to see more of in the format, and this was a really good showcase of what we hope this flag set's going to be like down the road too. So
yeah, and thanks everybody for putting this on. I love it. Yeah, got probably 3 more races in me after the 3 I've ran, so yeah, I'll look forward to the next one.
Well, awesome, and thank you for sharing your race with us tonight. Have a good one, Night Dew, and we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you in the bracket rounds or in another qualifier down the road here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. And that was our second place finisher on Restream, 20th overall, Night Dew. And meanwhile, we have Area in the Zeromus fight, and Ultros Professional just about to get her crystal.
To answer a question in chat, yes, this was it wasn't a required 17 out of 17, but I think for most of our runners, you're going to find they either got a 16 out of 17 or a 17 out of 17. Just because of how the key items lined up and what was on the moon and the long chain at the end. That Ultros is just finishing up right now, and will also be 17ing out of 17. So, and Arya is finishing up the Z fight. Looks like it's maybe slow and steady. Don't see too much trouble here. That Rosa is definitely helping out quite a bit. But again, I just want to shout out our folks helping out behind the streams or behind the scenes. Scythe Marshall, who has exactly 3 buttons left to press. I forgot on Ultros's tracker, and then his night will be finished. But thank you so much, Scythe Marshall, and Solaris for doing the restreams as well tonight. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And thank you to our runners for just letting us restream them. I know for some people it's kind of a scary prospect. And I believe both Ultros and Area, this may be their first time ever being restreamed. So just a big GG's to them for, letting us do it, being brave enough to kind of put it all out there.
Oh yeah, especially in a 75-person qualifier to be willing to, put yourself on the big stage like this. Get a lot of credit for that, and both of them have played extremely well. I know we talked about them both of them a little bit at the outset alley, and I know I'm probably guilty of getting sucked into the Night Dew and Dusty's races a little bit more, but they've both been doing a fantastic job, and the couple times that they've stumbled, they've bounced right back, made an adjustment or two, and we're still going here, so.
I just want to point out that on Ultros' screen, it just said, use the sand ruby over the octopus, and that just made me giggle.
That's pretty good. Ultros, quality naming scheme. Have to say, big Ultros fan here.
But Arya getting those Cure 4s out with 2 white mages makes this fight quite a bit safer. And I believe Ultros is about to start her Zeromus fight.
Didn't check levels. You were kind of mentioning about Arya's being a little bit lower than I'm sure most runners would like. Still managing to keep things going pretty smoothly here. Let's see. Looks like Ultros is Rosa's quite a bit more hit points. Gotta get that heroin robe off though if Rosa's going to be your healer. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, looks to be in pretty good shape. Maybe not nuke, maybe not white, but should have a pretty good time of it here.
We do see a Big Bang take out Porum on Arya's side. Hopefully can get Porum back up and just keep swinging.
Another really good point Scythe Marshall just made in the chat is when you actually have 2 white mages like Arya and Ultros do, you can actually throw that curse ring onto Porum and get a true agility anchor and still have a fully functional white mage doing your healing, which is very heads up. And yeah, Ultros has that curse ring on, ready to go here. And Arya's in phase 2. We're seeing some nukes here, so just need to keep those hit point totals up, keep dealing that damage, and you should be safe once the rocks start to fall. So hopefully coming right down to the end here. Oh no, I said that, and then Big Bang happened.
I think Arya got a nerf off. Yep.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of our runners are practicing nerfing those Big Bangs, which, I mean, Night Dew was talking about it earlier. I am also not very good at nerfing Big Bangs, so I'm very impressed by these runners who are able to do it pretty consistently here. So for people who have more of a speedrunning background, like a true speedrunning background, it's one of those things you can absolutely drill and practice. And I wonder if our runners that are getting really good at it, that's maybe something that they have done. But yeah, Arya's about to get this taken care of here. Oh, come on, Kane. Oh no, don't prove me wrong. That was just on Kane. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, Arya.
And it looks like with that, Arya did take a forfeit. Absolutely understandable. That's just a heartbreaking moment.
Yeah.
But we'll see if they still want to come in for an interview.
Yeah, and we are joined in the commentary booth by Arya. Arya, GG's. I know didn't want to see the Zeromus fight end that way, but did a really good job getting it to that point, and then I think it was maybe just frankly like a misclick, honestly. But I mean, it was, let's be honest, you basically finished that seed, let's just be honest.
Yeah, I figured I did what I went there to do after everything happened. Before we start, I just wanted to apologize to the stream because I got family stuff to deal with, like, I don't know, about 30 minutes in that seed, and that's not fun to watch an AFK for like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm really sorry for you guys. That's not a good show.
We all understand that family stuff always comes first. Yeah, we're just glad that everything's okay.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was an interesting seed.
Yeah, what did you think of that seed? We, when it first kind of kicked off, I think Allie and I were both kind of like, all right, open world randomizer. We got the magma key, we got the darkness crystal, let's go. And then it ended up being one of the most linear seeds I've probably seen in this format, so.
Yeah, it was interesting because in my practice seeds, I actually haven't encountered a lot of dupes off the bat in terms of characters, so only having 3 party members, and even at that 3 kind of awful party members, made for a fun start. Like, I actually had a lot of fun with the seed, that's why I kept playing, because I figured with the party we had, probably most people were going to struggle anyway, so I might get back into it if I got lucky. So I just started taking long shots, anything that looks like a time sink but might save me time if I'm from behind. So I just kind of basically full cleared Earth as much as I could, and then went to the moon. I went top down because nobody's going to do top down. Nobody likes doing that. And lucked into adamant. I didn't like antlion, so I noped out. And then we hit, what was it, Twin Harp or something at...
I believe it was the hook.
Oh, the hook, right.
Yeah, to go with the rat tail. Yeah, it was one long chain to the end. We never saw Wyvern. It was a very interesting seed, like you said. We saw you do a Mac Giant grind using the ZZ3 setup, which was super cool. Is that something that you've maybe wanted to do as kind of like your grind of choice, or was this more by necessity, would you say?
It was more like an epiphany. A couple of nights ago, like, I was running with Wuin Peasants, and we had a seed where we just didn't have good grind options. And we were like, oh, right, there's back grind, and we have a Cade, so we can do that. And even though I didn't have an axe or anything for Kane, I still had a hammer on Sid, and I had Palom with Virus, so Mac Giant still kind of applied. I couldn't think of a better grind to do with only 7 key items. So I just needed to do a couple of giants to at least get spells on my characters, since most of them were spellcasters, and then go forward with the seed. I probably should have just stuck it out and done the full grind there. I don't know if that would have saved me time or not, but yeah, that was what it was. It was fun.
I thought it bridged the gap really nicely between that kind of weird mid game where you didn't have any good party members, so you're not really investing the XP that you're getting into characters that you want. The moon, which you knew was required. You knew you had to go up there and do a bunch of moons. So I thought it made a lot of sense and was a really smart play. You also had that Rosa in your party. Finally got rid of Edward. Somehow he just really wanted to be in that party. All of them.
He sticks around. Possum, he's hard to get rid of sometimes.
Yeah. So that was neat to see. You and Ultros both picked up that Rosa at the package. How excited would you have been if that had been where Wyvern was hiding?
Oh, that would have been great. I mean, I figured everybody was probably going to do it because we just, like I said, having a dead Edward in the seed feels bad. And we didn't have much to go on at that point anyway, so I figured, yeah, people are probably going to take Rosa, so I don't think I'm going to time sync this. But, she's one of my favorite characters. She's really good, so it was nice to have her around.
Well, and we did see, back to that Mac Giant grind, that you got really lucky getting the correct seed on the first try. Usually, it's pretty hard to find the Mac Giants. It's a lot easier to find the D machines, so that was a huge time save as well.
I think it works a lot. As someone who did that a lot in ZZ3 and never got it on the first try, I'm pretty sure ZZ3 was the problem. You must just have to do that grind in the setup in ZZ4, and then it works perfectly every time, right?
I am really sorry about that. I had more family stuff come up just there for a second. One more time.
We were just talking about how lucky you got getting that Mac Giant grind on the first attempt.
Oh yeah, the nice little zero roll. That was nice. I tried going in there a couple times during the practice seed and just running around and finding it, because I know it's just the solo searcher after Wu told me about it, and it actually took me a really long time to just run into it. So I figured setting it up would just be best. And luckily I got it first try.
Yeah, that was really neat to see. And the funny thing about it was, if you watch the VOD back, Ultros was actually in the Giant trying to find it like the normal way, just by turning on encounters and walking and trying to get into that fight. I don't think she ever found it, and then just to kind of, I wouldn't say you were rubbing it in a little bit, but getting it on the first try was just kind of
That's mean.
the ultimate contrast. So.
Yeah, actually rude of me. I'm sorry about that.
I mean, you didn't know it. It's okay.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about this flag set is, first of all, I like the whole Sea Hero idea. I think that's super fun, but also your grind options change pretty drastically from seed to seed, I've noticed. Just either based on your party makeup or really what you're encountering or what you've unlocked. Because you don't have easy access to sirens, you don't always get edge to steal sirens, so that's not always on the table. Not having J items in shops actually changes things dramatically, which has been a lot of fun to encounter. I think I'm going to have to probably step out of the tournament, because every single seed I've run, something's come up either during or before or after that's just kind of made it a sour experience. So I think I'm going to pivot to doing comms like you guys are doing right now. Now that I've gotten at least to get my feet wet with the seeds and see what's going on, so I can actually comment on it, and probably end up going that way.
Well, we would love to have you in the comms booth. Definitely.
Yeah, you definitely seem like you have your finger on the pulse of the format, and that's really cool. And it was really great watching you race tonight. So GG's, and thanks for agreeing to be restreamed.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys. And again, sorry for everything that happened, but I'll see you guys around.
Yep, have a good night.
Take care.
And while we were wrapping up our interview with Arya, Ultros finished off Zemus with a final time of 2:22.35, and again 75 racers in the seed, 50th place. That's very, very nicely finished there. And we are joined by Ultros in the booth. GG's, very nice finish there.
Thanks so much. That was such a blast. I had an amazing time.
Oh, and kind of how did you feel about the start of it with more Edwards than you could shake a stick at?
Oh my lord. I was just like, once I found Artemis arrows and samurai bow, I was like, okay, Edward, you can stay until we find someone better. That was fine. But until then, my word, it was like, damage, please. And just every turn, I was just like, especially when we found the darkness crystal, I was like, okay, let's fill out this party, please. And I just checked all the character spots. It's like, oh, whoops, all Edwards. Like, it killed me.
Yeah, it really was a lot there. And I mean, I just have to say as well, naming scheme, very on point. Had a lot of really funny moments throughout the seed. I think my personal favorite, I know Allie had one later, but my personal favorite was right at the very beginning when Porum said, "Let's go, soup." When they were walking out of the opening cutscene. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just so much fun to watch you race, and I'm glad you had a good time with this seed.
Yeah, it's so fun. This is my 4th ever race, my 3rd race in the qualifiers so far. So I'm a bit of a noob, and racing's so much fun. I should have started doing it ages ago. I'm having a blast.
Well, that is our favorite thing to hear as just as commentary that you had a great time.
Yeah, I did, and I'm really happy with how it went. You know, like last night in practice, I got my first sub 2 hour seed, which I was stoked about, and I felt pretty good coming into today's race. And like, I've just got to shout out Judge Infinius, you know, a fellow Australian who's kind of been coaching me a fair bit and checking out what I've been doing. And yeah, thanks so much for mentoring me, Infin. That's just been so awesome. But God, this community's amazing. I love this community. Everyone's so lovely, and I'm so glad to be part of this tournament. Even if I don't make it through to the next round, I've had just the most amazing time so far.
Well, that's also wonderful to hear, and we absolutely love our Aussie contingent. I know the qualifier season isn't always going to be the best thing for people in different parts of the world, but just to hear your enthusiasm and to hear you talking about how much fun you're having, it really just makes us all very happy. So trying to think if there's anything specific from the seed that we saw you do that was very cool. We saw you dip into the giant to just do some random encounters. Were you looking for the last arm chest? Were you looking for the Mac giant grind? Were you just trying to get something? It ended up being a really cool play, but we were just kind of curious what your thoughts were when you did that.
Yeah, it ended up working out. I was looking for the last arm chest. I thought if I pick up like an Avenger or a defense sword or something, that's great. Because the loot probability in the giant's fantastic. And yeah, was also just hoping to YOLO the Mac giant grind. Didn't find it. I heard that is it Araya? Yeah. They found it first try. It's like, okay.
Well, to
never
be
lucky.
fair, Arya cheated and used the
they did the Baron setup.
ZZ3, but also
Yeah.
Arya cheated and got it on the first try, which never happens to anybody, especially when they're getting restreamed. But you know, that's neither here nor there. It was cool to see you doing it the way you were doing it.
Yeah, that's something, you know, Infin said, don't bother doing the setup, you know, it's too complicated, you know, you just might get lucky, and that's a better way to go. Because when I started doing FF3, it was around 3 miss zone time, FF3 Enterprise, it was around 3 miss zone time, so like, I know how to do the Baron strats, but it's like, okay, now let's just YOLO it, and I'm really glad, you know, we just got Rosa up to Cure 4, and it's like, okay, we can probably do cave value, that's fine.
Well, and then it just turned out to be one of those seeds where you were going to have to get every key item.
Yeah, full cleared the seed pretty much. Yeah, I don't know. Did anyone find Wyvern?
No, we never saw that Wyvern. We actually just had a question from chat, our tracker Scythe Marshal, wanting to know why you didn't check the Elements boss spot, which, again, we have no idea, but we were hoping for a peek, all right?
Yeah, I guess because I'd run out of MP, and I thought, okay, and just luckily we'd hit Cure 4. I'm like, okay, let's just get out of here. I felt like I just needed to keep moving. Might have got lucky with Wyvern, but I thought, no, let's just do the objectives and that kind of thing. So just kept moving.
Well, it was a blast to watch. I know this has been your first restreamed race.
Yeah.
And really, you said it was your 5th race?
Fourth race.
4th race. Well, You did a great job. You've definitely been putting in work for sure.
Yeah, I've been, you know, running a few practice seeds, and I've just been having a lot of fun. And yeah, it's really cool to be restreamed as well. I'm on TV. If my partner's watching, hi, I love you.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, we love being able to have everybody on the big stage, and we've made it a point in some of the last events to try to get as many people as possible onto Restream. So we're so glad that we were able to get you onto the stream today. And again, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, and we hope we see you back for more qualifiers and maybe even the round of 64. What do you think in the rest of the way? There's 8 qualifiers left now. How many do you have under your belt, and are you going to be able to get to those 4, do you think?
I've got 3 under my belt so far, and I've got another 3 races that I can do. Like, there's a lot that are just at pretty horrible times in the minus 10 UTC time zone, and I'm also moving house next week. So I hope my internet is good at my new place. But yeah, I'm hoping to do another 3, so that'll make 6 in total. So hopefully I'll have some decent points. But I mean, I don't even mind if I don't get through. I just this is fun enough in itself. I'm having such a wonderful time.
Well, I feel just blessed just by your excitement. It just makes it feel so humbling that just our community just. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Oh no, it's right. Like, it's such a lovely community, and for like trans people as well, to just like, you just know it's fine in here. You know you're not going to have any trouble. Like, and it's not because like everyone, we've got really like harsh mods or something. It's just because the community is absolutely lovely people, and who wouldn't want to play this randomizer? I don't know. It's great.
That just means so much, and I agree. One of the reasons I've found such a home in this community is how welcoming and awesome everybody is, and just to hear that echoed by someone who's come in more recently and saying and seeing the same things. I mean, we're obviously doing what we're trying to do. We have a mission, and we're succeeding in that as much as we can. So thank you so much again, and we're just so glad you're a part of the event. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Allie, we have a little stream recap or a race recap to do. Do you want to tell everybody who our top 6 were? I guess we know who number 1 was.
Sure, I can do that. So, of course, our first place finisher was Dusty Griff. Second place was Zilch. Third was Coffee and Chocobos. Fourth was PK4787. Fifth was Sentient Flatbread. And sixth was Scratch Dragon. GG's to them.
That is a really good mix of finishers. Got some old hands, got some newer runners. Sentient Flatbread, for those who don't know, is the artist formerly known as Pizza 34, I believe. So someone who's definitely been around for a while and knows their way around a FF4FE seed. So very well done. 75 racers getting a top 6 in this seed that was such a long, grindy seed is just incredible. So GG's to all of them. And we got more qualifiers coming next weekend, starting Friday night, actually. So got a few days off now. Everybody go practice. Go have some fun playing the flags. If you haven't jumped in yet, you still got some time to do so, but not much. And if you're in the event, make sure you get those 4 races in before the 15 qualifiers are up. We had a really good time tonight. Allie, anything else you want to add before we head on over to our raid target?
Just that y'all are awesome. You make the community what it is, and I hope to see y'all on Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you then. And for now, we are going to be raiding Elvin Sorrow, who I don't know if Elvin Sorrow is in the qualifier tonight, but he's doing Highway to the Zemus Zone practice. So we'll be checking out a practice seed there. Make sure no spoilers for the race that y'all just watched. Let's let everybody enjoy this awesome race that we all just witnessed on their own without any spoilers. We're heading on over to community member Elvin Sorrow to watch some practice. Have a good night, everybody. For Solaris, for Scythe Marshall, for Alicel, I'm Moonblaze Wolf. This has been Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Qualifier 7, and we hope you had a good time. Have a great rest of your evening.